This is Generation Gaming, the video game news outlet made for the gamers, by the gamers. Now, from Tampa, Florida, this is a special edition of J. Lewis's 2 Cents. Here is your host, the original Generation Gamer and the co-host of the Generation Gaming podcast, J. Lewis. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of J. Lewis's 2 Cents. I am J. Lewis at your service once again. I am coming to you from Tampa, Florida. Generation Gaming, on site for the first time. Just doing the little things a little differently today. I'm going to do what everyone knows. Those of you who've listened to J. Lewis's 2 Cents know how that works. You know, I have one or two subject matters I kind of rein in on. But today I'm going to do little things a little differently just because I am in Tampa, and I thought it'd be a good idea to record an audio version of J. Lewis's 2 Cents. I haven't done one in probably 2 weeks because of our new video podcast, which is taking up a lot of time. And when you only have a couple people helping you do this, or you yourself, just you doing it, it's a lot to do. But nonetheless, I said that we were going to do audio and video podcast, and that is the case. And I thank you for those who were listening. But nonetheless, I said we're going to do a mix. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to have a mix of J. Lewis 2 Cents, like I said, and I'm going to have a mix of the new Generation Gaming show, the Monday Morning Gamer, which only have 1 or 2 episodes yet. I'm going to try to do this Monday coming up. I'm going to give you a new episode of the Monday Morning Gamer, but nonetheless, it's going to be a mix of that today here on J. Lewis's 2 Cents. So what I'm going to do is basically what I do on the Monday Morning Gamer is I give kind of a rundown of what's going on in the video game industry, either the week before or the week the next week, whatever. I'll get my thoughts straight, excuse me. But it is a wonderful atmosphere. I need to move down to Tampa with the rest of my family because it is snow-free and cold-free. The weather's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of some news and headlines basically here. And in the end, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Kind of something I thought that kind of touched me personally and I can relate to. I read this article that really just kind of, like I said, touched me in a very personal way. Video games helping people with depression. And I can relate to that. So I'm going to talk, that's going to be the last subject here on today's show. But starting off, going to give you the news and headlines from what I found out this past week. Phil Spencer, the man from Xbox himself, says the E3 press conference, Microsoft's press conference that is, and I quote, he says, we'll dedicate more times to games during the conference. Now, we all know that the last E3 conference from Microsoft, really, people were kind of getting on Microsoft about the fact that it wasn't heavy on the games. It was more about the hardware. That's understandable, honestly. But E3 is about a little bit about everything, if you think about it. Yes, it is about games. That's obviously what E3 is. It's video games. You want the games. But last year, the Scorpio and the Xbox One kind of overtook the games itself. But Phil Spencer and Xbox saw that and understood that, which is a good thing for, any developer. I mean, they're not necessarily developers. They develop consoles, obviously, and they promote games and they publish games, and they have Microsoft Studios. I understand that. But a lot of the times, developers, unfortunately, don't listen to gamers and fans. They just think they know best, and that's not always the case. But Spencer also went on, he teased that, pretty much he teased it, but he confirmed it, that Microsoft is also going to have a second press conference, if you will, on the Project Scorpio. That's going to be, I guess, its own pre-E3 reveal. They did the same thing with the Xbox One, if you remember. But also, the Scorpio is going to have an E3 presence during the Microsoft conference as well. Because there has been, it's impressive enough that they have been able to keep it under wraps. Because the video game industry is one of those industries that keeping secrets is very hard to do. in the entertainment industry as well, keeping secrets is something that is not, it's very easy to let the cat out of the bag about a lot of things. And the fact that we hardly know anything about the Project Scorpio, which is most likely not going to be its final name, says a lot for Microsoft and Xbox itself. So I'm pretty excited to see what it's going to be. I'm not excited about the price point, which I know is not going to be cheap, and I think people need to be prepared for that, because Phil Spencer has reiterated this is not going to be an Xbox One, or it's not going to be a 360. It's going to be an expensive console, but it's going to be for the premium gamer, so but it's going to be worth it. I think it is. Microsoft is really good about that kind of stuff normally. We're moving on. It is official, ladies and gentlemen. Destiny 2 is coming. Now, I am not a Destiny fan per se. I did play Destiny, honestly, about maybe halfway through the story. I know it's more than that. I understand that. But I have good friends, Psychosis included, who play Destiny a lot, and going to have a better understanding of it. But Destiny of the game, their Twitter feed, released an image simply showing the Destiny 2 logo. But unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of further information from that. But they are going to release a trailer tomorrow, I believe. That is the word through the grapevine, but you never know about those kind of things. Usually, you'll get a teaser photo or whatnot, and then trailer usually isn't that far off behind it. A teaser one, so it's not going to probably show much, but just to get you guys, those fans of Destiny, excited, basically. Nintendo promises a big E3, of course, and then Nintendo didn't, like all the good companies do. They're not going to spill the beans on what games you might see, but they are also emphasizing games are going to be very big, and I like that. From Nintendo and Xbox, the fact that they are understanding that, yes, they've got the consoles out there, but now they need to show what the consoles are going to give us, what games are going to come with these consoles. But Nintendo did state that these games are going to be on Nintendo Switch, and they're going to be 3DS games, new games, obviously. Looking forward to that for Nintendo fans and Microsoft fans alike. This is going to be a shortened version of Jay Lewis's 2 Cents. I must say that right now. Probably maybe be half an hour, 20 minutes or so if you're lucky. So April's games for gold are going to be as follows. Assassin's Creed Revelations, that's backwards compatible, are going to be April 16th through April 30th. Rise, Son of Rome, that's going to be from April 1st to April 30th. I could do without Son of Rome. You can keep that. I don't care who Sonny is. That game was the original Xbox One game to release with the Xbox One. And as craptastic as it was, I know myself, and I'm going to probably download it anyway. It was so linear for me. I just got bored of it really quickly. And I know some people like it. Psychosis is all shits and giggle balls about it, and great for you, but I just can't get into it. This is not for me. But I'll try it again. I'll give it another whack, and I will be disappointed and irritated like I was the first time I played it. It looks visually awesome, yes, but gameplay matters, and for me, it just didn't really stick. Telltale's, wow, let me get that right. Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 2. That's going to be available through April 16th to May 15th. That is worth getting if you are a big Walking Dead fan. I have not played much of Season 2. I played halfway through it, and it was no particular reason why I stopped playing it. It was one of the things other things came up at the time, but I plan on going back, getting that. Worth the shot. Oh, Walking Dead from Telltale is really great games and a really engaging story. And the other backwards compatible title is going to be Darksiders. That's going to be available April 1st through April 15th. Now, every month that we get our games for gold, or you get your backwards compatible list updated, there was always this speculation of Black Ops 2. Oh, is it going to come? Oh, maybe no, it doesn't come. Oh, no, I'm disappointed. So a lot of people keep getting disappointed every single month, and you keep hoping, and it doesn't happen. Here is what most likely is going to happen, and this is what I've been reading and what I've been told, and it makes a lot of sense. So when Infinite Warfare came out this year, they gave us a remastered version of Modern Warfare. Well, what the process most likely might be is you might see, most likely, it's not confirmed yet, but it makes a lot of sense. Activision is talking about is eventually Black Ops 2 is going to become backwards compatible, but it's not going to be maybe as soon as you want it to be. They are talking about this year, you're going to, I think, either get Modern Warfare 2 with the new Call of Duty game that's going to be released in November, and I think that's going to be a normal thing now. They're talking about doing this. So eventually, they're going to try to do it. I don't know if they're going to try to do it chronologically, but if that's the case, you're going to have to wait a little bit for Black Ops 2, obviously, because you had Modern Warfare, then there was actually World at War. So really, it would make, yes, that's most likely it, yeah. So Modern Warfare, the first one. Then you had World at War, that's Treyarch. That was the last World War II game we got for Call of Duty. Then you got Modern Warfare 2, yeah, and then it was Black Ops, 2. I've lost the track. But anyway, if that is what they're talking about doing, and that's what they're probably going to do, in a sense, as I dropped my notepad, excuse me for that. But nonetheless, that is what the speculation and hype is going to be for that. Now, I wanted to... I saw this article as I was preparing for the show. Sorry, I need to make sure I get my notes right here. Excuse me, like I was saying, I saw this article as I was preparing for the show. Give you my little 2 cents for how I feel about it. It was basically on those people who have suffered from depression. And I have no shame in saying this. I myself have suffered from depression in the past. In a clinic, I've seen the clinical aspect. I didn't diagnose myself. But the article I found really intrigued me in that sense because of that. Pretty much saying video games being a viable and effective treatment for depression, says researchers. Now, the findings are pretty distinctive, and they're pretty out there. They make sense, showing that playing this specifically designed video game help people feel that they had some control over their depression. And I can understand that completely because for me, I had my own demons. I'm not going to go into that. But depression was something that always bugged me. Obviously it bugs you. Always that affected me about 4 years ago. But for the last 3 years, I've been able to handle that. Video games for me was a way for me to get my mind off of the stress or the problems that I was having. And when I turned the console off and stopped playing the game, I was still able to it helped me feel a lot better, honestly, it did. But it helped me grips with reality, if you will. So I see why this can help people. Now, let me find a word where I found this at. Because think about this. It's a mental condition, depression, and it's gradually taking over the world. It's become more common with every passing day. Now, WHO's statistics reveal that depression affects more than 300 million people across the world, and close to 800,000 people die to suicide caused by depression every year. Now, and those people obviously, maybe they're not getting help, or they're getting help, or their depression is so severe, they feel like they can't ever get any help, which is sad and unfortunate. And I really feel that video games can be a way to help. Video games can be a way to, for me, kind of step back from that grasp of reality that depression is keeping you down, or keeping people down, and kind of get that weight you feel maybe off your shoulders, or that sadness you have in your mind and your heart. Um, and the beautiful thing about what it is, the findings have shown that playing specifically designed video games help people feel that they had control over the depression. Let's see, like such video games, they had the potential to target depression caused, by both internal, such as chemical imbalance of hereditary factor, and external factors, like issues, in relationships, with a girlfriend, wife, whoever, or boyfriend, doesn't matter, or your job. There's a quote from. I can't. They don't give the guy's name. It's from University of California, but it really kind of struck me. And I quote: "It says, through the use of carefully designed, persuasive message prompts, mental health video games can be perceived and used as a more viable and less attrition-ridden treatment option." Now that right there is, makes a lot of sense. Because there are those brain video games, like on Nintendo DS. My God, my grandmother played them, and she was way more active than I ever saw her. Let's see. Yeah, brain training made, participants that feel like they could do something to control their depression. And this also does support, other research that shows that brain training games have the potential to induce, cognitive changes, excuse me. That's what the researchers said. Now, there is the other side of that coin, where portraying depression as a condition caused by external factors, they lead users, to spend more time playing the game, again, perhaps giving them a feeling, of control over their situation. For me, I think it is really a good idea, and I think it should be implemented on more other bases, in more places, because for the obvious reasons. I know I keep sounding like I'm reiterating it, but if you have never had depression, you're not going to understand it. But if you have, you can understand exactly where I'm coming from. A lot of the times, people who have depression don't feel like they really have control over their depression. They just feel like they're sad and there's no way to stop it. And they just get more and more depressed. They don't really care. They honestly don't. And that's what leads to suicide, unfortunately. But it can be stopped, and it can be cured, and you can get help. Occasionally I'll feel sad a little bit, from what I used to be a lot worse. And then I used to do stupid things to my body, that would harm me, obviously in the long run, short run, whatever, that I thought could mask the pain or mask my depression, my sadness. And it doesn't. It never does, and it never will. But now the study that I found is forthcoming in the journal Computers and Human Behavior. The team asked 160 student volunteers to play 6 3-minute games. Each game was an adaptation of neuropsychological training tasks that have been shown to improve cognitive control among people experiencing depression, and ended on basic inspirational notes to inspire the participant to play the game. And then the results that were revealed, that when the video game users were message reminders, they played the game more often, and in some cases increased the time spent playing. So that right there tells you that it's working, which is beautiful in itself. So that means that these people are getting help that they need, and it's getting their minds off of the problem that they have, and the illness that they have of depression. And video games are a great thing. I really do think that video games gets a bad rap because it's just a game. You're wasting time. People just sit there and play for hours and hours. I sit there and play for hours and hours. My fiance hates it sometimes. Trust me. She wants to scalp me alive, but she also knows that it helps me, and it has helped me. It's like I said, it's a way for people who have that issue of depression to get their mind to calm down and relax. Because sometimes people with depression get to a whole nother kind of level. I know people, have depression that, also there's bipolar mixed in that, and that can be pretty bad. It's everybody's different. Let's just put it that way. That's obvious. The human mind and the human body are all different. We're not made the same. Our minds are not the same. And so I think that this is a good thing. I think we need to implement games on a bigger level to help with depression, because it's getting worse every year. And something like this that is maybe not noticed by a lot of people can be a bigger and better thing. It can be a beautiful thing. But that is my 2 cents. And I'm going to kind of emphasize the depression thing later. Generation Gaming on JLou's 2 cents video podcast is going to be shot tomorrow. In 2 days, excuse me. My good friend Ono Sauce on JLou's 2 cents on the video podcast. You guys can check that out. That's going to be released in a few weeks. But this Saturday is going to be the release and the debut of Generation Rivals, the video game debate show. Come check me out, Jay Lewis, as I went toe-to-toe with Ono Sauce and the moderator, Psychosis, my co-host of the Generation Gaming podcast. We were going to talk about Call of Duty, the series, and we didn't. We went pretty much right on Call of Duty Zombies, which for myself and Ono Sauce was perfect, because we've played it all. We played every single Zombies. We got all the strategies. We do the Easter eggs, the whole 9 yards. So it was it was not very structured debate, to say the least. Go blame the moderator. He just let us go at it. We tried to have structure, like rules for the debate, and we just kept talking over one another. But it was entertaining nonetheless, and that's the point. We want to entertain the fans. We want to be instruct the fans. It was a good time at Bale. So please check that out. That's going to be this Saturday on YouTube, on the Generation Gaming channel, on the Facebook page, and the Generation Gaming group. And I believe, we're going to get on Twitter as well. So that's going to be good. And then next week, we're going to release the Jay Lewis's 2 cents. I just said we're going to record that tomorrow. I'm going to have my good buddy Ono Sauce on there as well. And I'm going to relate the little cat in the room. Those of you noticed that you haven't heard anything from Psychosis at all. Like I said, he was on the Generation Gaming video podcast this past week, past Saturday with myself. His audio podcast is still, I guess, indefinite. That's going to happen sooner or later. I'm not sure. I'm not going to speak for him, but I am going to speak for Generation Gaming. I'm sure he will do a podcast sooner or later. I don't know when. I honestly don't. But if I know him as well as I think I do, when he is done dealing with what he's dealing with, he will most certainly get back at it. But the show has got to go on, and I'm not going to let the show end for anything. But nonetheless, we always try to give you the most up-to-the-minute news. We try to entertain you here at Generation Gaming. We want your guys' voices to be heard. The only video game news outlet that I believe that does this. But nonetheless, it has been a great day here in Tampa, Florida. I want to thank everyone who supports Generation Gaming. Thank you guys for listening to Jay Lewis's 2 cents. And like I said, check Generation Rivals out the debate this Saturday. The new video game debate show this Saturday right here on Generation Gaming, the Generation Gaming YouTube channel, the Facebook page, and Generation Gaming group. I am Jay Lewis. This is Generation Gaming, the video game news outlet made for the gamers by the gamers. You guys have a good one. This is the Generation Gaming Podcast Network, the place for all your video game news podcasts. The solo podcast of Jay Lewis's 2 cents, Mind of Psycho, and, of course, the monthly podcast that is the Generation Gaming Podcast. But around the corner is a new addition to the Generation family. The new debate show, Generation Rivals. It's all here on Generation Gaming.